Welcome in, everybody, to this week's edition of Valpo Football Weekly, brought to you by our friends at Lakeshore Bone and Joint Institute. Brandon Vickery with you. Glad to be joined by the head coach of the Valpo football program, Landon Fox. We'll get you ready for the rivalry game this week in just a few minutes. But first, we look back at Saturday's game, and it's not often your defense will give up 42 points in a game. Davidson, an offense that's among the national leaders in most statistical categories. What made it so tough on your defense? What led to a challenging day for the defense on Saturday?
Yeah, we just didn't get off the field on fourth down. That was a big thing, and we knew that that they would do that. I mean, they went for the very first fourth down in their own territory, back up at the 25-yard line, and when you can do that, I mean that changes the game completely. When he's willing to take those risks, and obviously he has a lot of confidence in what they do, but now all of a sudden you're getting the ball on the opponent's 25-yard line, game changes, and so. Those are big plays. We have to do a better job as a coaching staff, putting a plan together in short yardage. And then I'd say on top of it, then just being consistent. There was times we probably played those guys, if you look at it, better than anybody on first and second down. They played a lot of second longs, which they hadn't done, and we just weren't consistent for those 3 to 4 downs, and that's what you have to do to beat a team like that.
Rowan Keefe comes into the game in the second half at quarterback and makes quite the debut. 3 touchdown passes, no interceptions. What stood out to you about him? What impressed you about Rowan on Saturday?
Rowan was just Rowan. You knew that he had that in him. He's a guy that obviously we thought a lot of when we recruited him, and he's a guy that we have a lot of faith in. And so obviously we saw Jeffrey. We're struggling a little bit just in terms of with some pass rush. They're getting some rush on us, and so we had to have the ability to kind of step up in the pocket, and thought Rowan may be able to do that. And Rowan came in, and when he did that, he was able to find some guys that were open and kind of get us in a rhythm. And so I thought Rowan just was him, and then he's a confident guy too in terms of he has a lot of belief in what he can do, and which carries over to the offense and good leadership ability.
Talk about the Pioneer Football League as a whole right now, and you've had a chance to get a good look at some of the top teams in the league. The teams you've played have a combined 14-3 PFL record right now. 3 of the 4 are either 4-0 or 4-1 in league play. It's an interesting year in the standings in terms of maybe some of the traditional powers in the bottom half and some other teams in the top half. What's led to the success of the teams at the top when you look at those programs? What does it take to be one of those teams at the top of the PFL standings right now?
Yeah, it's such a as you can see with us, it's razor thin in terms of what it takes week in and week out. And so I think as a team you have to make your own breaks, right? Hey, you've had some things go against you. Okay, that's maybe, but the reality is we have to be the ones that do that. And so, for example, here's a perfect example. Drake goes to San Diego and throws a Hail Mary to win the game, so they stay undefeated in the league, I believe. Well, we throw a Hail Mary and Drake. Well, we don't. We don't even get to throw it because we don't, pass protect the proper way. And so we're not creating those opportunities for ourselves to maybe create some of those opportunities that allow the wins. And I think you're seeing that across the league, very close games going back and forth, and then that's where the standings are at.
Let's talk about this week. When I talk to Valpo football alums and they talk about the highlights of their careers, winning the Hoosier helmet is always up there. What does this rivalry mean? What's it like to be a part of a program where you have a rivalry with this type of tradition?
Yeah, it means everything, right? And you can say this regardless of we were undefeated, they had no wins, vice versa, whatever. But records don't mean anything. You're in the same state. You play in the same league. They know we really don't like them. They don't like us. We've recruited some of the same players that they've recruited, so they heard the pitch on both sides. There's a lot that goes into it. And the thing that you got to do, though, the key is that's fine, and we want that. We want that excitement towards the game, but make sure too that when you come Saturday, you play with passion. Don't play with emotion, because when you play with emotion, bad things happen. And that happened to us in 19. We made some emotional plays that cost us late in the game. So as much as the emotion's there and you want it to be there, when you do step on the field, you still have to it's about us and playing our game.
I know you say it's about you, but let's talk about the opposition on Saturday. It's a team and a program that's in a much different place than the team you beat 47-3 the last time you went to Indianapolis. What's led to their turnaround over the last 2 years, and what can you tell us about what you'll have to do to beat them on Saturday?
Yeah, to me, it starts with their quarterback. To me, he's a competitor. If you get an opportunity to go out in the field and see him, he's 5'7". He's not very big, but like he's a competitor. He's has the ability to throw it and run it. And so, to me, starts with him offensively, but they do have a number of weapons alongside of them, starting with a really good running back and some receivers out there. And so, offensively, they'll present a lot of weapons. Defensively, but very sound in what they do. And I would say that's really, you say, hey, what's the difference? Would be, they're just fundamentally sound in really all three phases. You watch it on tape. That's offense, that's defense, that's special teams, and do a nice job just putting the guys in a position and the guys executing their game plan. I know it sounds simple. I know it sounds simple, but that's really what you see. And they did have some of those people, some of those players on their team when they got there, and they were able to retain some of those guys, and has led to an older team that you would think in terms of staff turnover that may not happen, but they did a nice job of being able to keep people together.
There he is, the head coach of the Valpo football program, Landon Fox. Big game on Saturday. Always exciting when it's rivalry week. Hope a lot of Valpo fans will make the trip out to Indianapolis, where the game will be streamed on Flow Football on Saturday afternoon as well. Talk to you again next week on Valpo Football Weekly, brought to you by Lakeshore Bone and Joint Institute.